Are we live? Are we good? Hello, everyone. My name is Trups LP, and welcome to another quarantined version of the Moisky Live political recap. Joining me, as always, is the lovely and moist General Moistness himself, Omegon.
Yo.
Say hello, Omegon. Okay.
You took so long, I wasn't sure if you were going to say that or not.
I'm sorry. It's been it. You know what? I just don't know how to socially interact with anybody. I've been in quarantine for too long.
It's it's one of those times where when you finally do get to, you'll have a panic attack.
Yeah. When I have to go back to work and actually interact with people like correctly again, that's
When
going to be joyful.
do you have to go back anytime soon?
No, they extended my quarantine for another 2 weeks.
Would you do cough down the phone?
No, not me in particular. Just that's what the business is doing.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Shut-ins and moistlings, yes. So, how is Omegon this week?
It's been what 12 days, and I've had headaches for 10 of them. I'm so
Ugh.
bored. I'm not doing enough, and it annoys me. I am irked. I don't know.
Ugh.
I'm also acutely aware of certain situations because of the lack of work. Um, like I know I have so much more to do and plan and get on with, and I'm just getting nowhere. So I'm throwing myself into
Mm.
this, and the problem here is I am quite concerned that I'm at some point going to burn out, but I haven't. I don't feel burnout, but I know it's there. It's going to happen. I'd really like it not to, because I quite enjoy doing
Yeah,
this.
I could sympathize.
No, I've been writing a lot of notes for videos. I've got to do some social repose stuff tomorrow. That's going to be more notes, hopefully more progress. Tomorrow's no computer day. Well, unfortunately, because of my circumstances, that day is now dead until I'm working again.
Right.
I guess I get to focus on
Am
projects
I
at least.
alone? Weird. No, troll, you're not weird. You're not alone. No
You
one is
are,
alone.
you are totally
The elder
weird,
gods are
Brett.
always with you.
You're totally weird, whatever that is.
Weird.
Yes. How's
Yes,
Trups, by
indeed.
the way?
Um, well, besides completely lacking in social skills, I'm all right. Um,
Weren't you like that before the quarantine?
well, I pretended pretty well.
Ah, fake it till you make it. Gotcha.
Yes, exactly. That's how I made it through college.
That's a damning statement on
You
the
get
education
degrees and
system.
sometimes D's.
Oh
Yes,
dear,
well,
oh dear.
I could go off on a tangent for about 2 hours on the education system.
Let's not.
No, I know.
I'll fall
We're
asleep.
not doing that here. We have other, more important things to talk about, like the ongoing. What are we doing this time? What what
Milwaukee's
what beer do you
best.
like?
Oh no,
Which
hate.
one?
It's not like it's. I'll look at my notes here. It's called Milwaukee's Best Virus.
Ugh.
Apparently, that's a bad beer, so that's what it's called.
All right. So it sounds like an IPA virus.
It's possibly an IPA. I would Google it, but my aggressive tapping would cause someone to have a seizure.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I'm gonna call it the IPA because Milwaukee's best virus sounds like an anti-tourism campaign. Hi, we're from Milwaukee.
Don't
Come
come
find our
here!
best virus.
Don't come here! Uh,
Yeah.
I'm okay with this.
Oh yes, yes indeed. So, where should we start today? Do you want to start with the UK? How's the UK treating this situation?
All right, so where do we start? Let's start with Boris. For this, I have actually got a picture of Boris. Where is he? Boris. Yes. So Boris Johnson is extending his quarantine under doctor's advice. He was supposed to come out of quarantine today, but we couldn't let him out for anything more than a little run around his pen because he still has a mild symptom. The mild symptom being a temperature. He has, for the sake of it, continued to do his and perform his duties courtesy of video conferencing and Zoom, that app that's getting a lot of attention at the moment. Some negative,
Yes.
because it turns out they weren't ready for this. They're just an app. They weren't expecting everyone to pounce on it. I might download it though and ask my sister to, so I can at least talk to my nephew. The picture you all see on the screen is of Boris Johnson last night as he partook in the applauding the NHS on doorsteps. So he stood outside number 10 and did that, which is what a lot of people did. Again, we did it last week. I did not, because I was busy.
Was that like the group clap thing that your country did?
Yeah, they clapped. You're right. He has released a statement on this. He did it via a video on Twitter. He said, although I'm feeling better and I've done my 7 days of isolation, alas, I have one of the minor symptoms. I still have a temperature. So in accordance with government advice, I must continue my self-isolation until that symptom itself goes. But we are working clearly the whole time on our program to beat the virus. Adding that he expected good weather over the weekend and that people may be tempted to ignore the advice and spend more time outside, with him urging people not to do that and to stick with the guidance, and that this country has made a huge effort, a huge sacrifice, and done absolutely brilliantly well in delaying the spread of the virus. Let's stick with it now and remember that incredible clapping last night for our fantastic NHS. We are doing it to protect them and save lives, because that's what clapping does, everyone. I have just saved a poor kid in Africa. I've just saved 2 now. Honestly. I'm a bit too much of a cynic for this. Let's see. Right, so. Someone with the symptoms of corona stood on the doorsteps of the place, basically outside, flouting his own rules. 1. Matt Hancock, the health secretary, who's on the thumbnail, you might have known. I don't know if anyone know who he is. He's the health secretary, who last week displayed symptoms of the Milwaukee's Best virus. Sorry, IPA. I don't want to put all IPAs in there though. Do you want to come up with another really bad beer and we'll go with that?
Yeah, I'll go through some.
Last week, the dipstick on the screen, who was on the thumbnail, he displayed symptoms of the virus. Today, he was at the opening of the Nightingale Hospital. What is the Nightingale Hospital? The Nightingale Hospital is a new and temporary hospital put in place by taking the London XL Arena, which is a what do you call it? Gigs and stuff happening there. You know, that kind of recreational.
It's a stadium.
It's an event place, mostly.
It's an event arena.
It's not bad, and 4,000 NHS sort of like it's going to be 4,000 beds are in there basically in cubicles. And it took 200 soldiers from the Royal Anglian Regiment and some Gurkhas working alongside NHS staff and contractors to complete this in 9 days. But Matt Hancock, who was coughing, hacking, and blowing his nose, was at the opening outside while doing social distancing, surrounded by lots of people. Prince Charles, who also has symptoms of this, has been tested positive for it. He was also there, but at least he had a bit of common sense. See, our next monarch did it via video link. Just to talk about the Nightingale, or what's it called, hospital. I just want to say, as far as this goes, it's quite an interesting appearance because the first time I saw it, I'll put a picture on the screen. It reminded me of Abstergo when Desmond escapes. Just lots of cubicles in a rather weird, isolated manner. I have to admit, that took me not because I was kind of confused. I thought perhaps the Templars were taking over. Where is it? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, because that's something that we do often.
Yeah. And there are currently, courtesy of a statement this evening from Matt Hancock, 2 more Nightingale hospitals are going to be built in Bristol, which will have 500 beds, and in Harrogate. And at present, this to run will require 16,000 NHS staff to run it, which is where the military are also going to be involved in assisting in this. There are a number of NHS staff, former doctors, nurses as such, along with people in their final year of nursing school and other graduate near areas who are being enlisted, who have volunteered, who are doing this to help out. Good on them, honestly. For the most part, you are unappreciated, and you're now finally getting appreciated. It's just a shame it's under such dire circumstances. At present, 7,000 NHS staff have been tested. Obviously, when you consider it would need 16,000 to run this one, that could be a problem. And they are trying to increase that to 100,000 by the end of the month, obviously people in general. But there's still no sign of the virus and the spread and death rate from like capping, hitting that plateau, as it's still climbing quite badly. There is a complaint about personal protective equipment for the most part. And so Matt Hancock addressed this today as well by indicating, especially for the devolved administration and the executive in Northern Ireland, that 5 million items of PPE have been delivered today. Which I'm not sure if that's actually a lot or not, because there's a lot of hospitals, a lot of staff, and you go through a lot of it very quickly. So it's a weird flex, but it's something he mentioned that I found quite fascinating. There were two other things related to this, or three actually. The first is that in Northern Ireland, 100 prisoners were released or placed under house arrest to protect them, as they were deemed high risk due to asthma and other breathing issues. Now, of course, they were softer crimes, not the more serious. Those were moved elsewhere. And this actually, interestingly, coincided with me finding an article about that stupid gangster rapper Tekashi, who was also placed under house arrest after and will serve the remaining 4 months of his sentence because he was also deemed high risk in his prison because of his asthma, where he'll be under house arrest with a tag. There was progress made courtesy of an international poll of 6,200 doctors. Hancock, not Handcock, no D. Think of the Will Smith movie. And the 6,200 doctors in a poll had found that hydroxychloroquine, which is a malaria drug, had proven to be the most effective drug against Covid-19, or whatever Trups is going to come up with it as a bad beer virus. But as a counter to that, and this is the World Health Organization doing what they can to help, because they, as we all know, they love to help. They love to be a part of it. They love to just really give your hopes a nice little smashing. When they said that there is no medicine that can prevent or cure the virus. Helping or hurting? I can't quite tell. Moving on, and I guess the final part, I guess, for the UK today, I've run out of things already, is that I earlier talked about the Premier League in a video, and football players being asked to take a pay cut. Now, I didn't believe the PFA, or the Players Football Association, the union, would be down for that, because they don't care. And the Premier League has said it will ask, or the FA, will ask players to take a pay cut of up to 30%. Now, some of these guys earn 350 grand a week. Which is still a lot, of course, and obviously it's their money. They can do whatever they want, really. Pay cut of up to 30%, and will donate 20 million to the NHS to help with this. They're also going to free up some money, which I'll get to in a moment. Now, originally it was believed the Players Football Association would outright reject this. The PFA put out a statement on Twitter, which I've linked, by the way. All this I've spoken about so far is actually linked in the description. The PFA put out a statement, a very short one I might add, that seemed to centre on club financial support, which actually the FA is releasing funds. Normally they release them in August for leagues, and those leagues then give the funds to certain clubs to help out. But they're going to release it early in April instead, and they focused on that financial support and player safety. Wages were not discussed in this, and I've written here, I'd be surprised if many of the high earners would take a pay cut without being guilted. There was other things with Gary Lineker. Now, for those who don't know who Gary Lineker is, he is arguably one of the most famous English football players on the international stage, especially because he was our top goal scorer. He's very charismatic. He still looks incredibly young for a guy in his 50s, I think. Stupidly boyish looking. Also most famous for he shat on a football pitch and used his hand to smear it over the grass.
Why?
Because he had diarrhea, so he sat down and crapped himself. He was sweating one out as well. So he decided when Hancock requested this little pay pay cut and all that, it was a bit cheeky, and decided to then go on to blame the UK for stalling. Now I've made my view on this quite clear. Instead of blaming, we need to get on with the task at hand. Right? That's it. My focus should be that, because it's like when I was unemployed, but obviously got vastly different. My view was, I don't care how I got there. All I care about is getting out of it. I was there for several years. I didn't care. I just wanted out. I didn't want to go, oh, it's your fault, and now I feel so much better. No. Doesn't help anyone. Doesn't resolve anything. Therefore, instead of people doing what they are doing, and that is just saying, in hindsight, you should have acted sooner. No, how about instead we just say, right, we're a bit behind. Let's fix that. What do I have to do? The government has obviously passed out what they think we should do for the time being. Do it. It just makes things so much simpler for the time being to get this problem under control. And just because the curve shows it's starting to slow down doesn't mean, we should all now go back outside and mingle. I mean, I don't care about mingling at the best of times, but in this particular circumstance, no, please don't. So with people like Gary Lineker, Gary Neville, another semi-well-known football player who was arguably legendary at Manchester United as a centre-back, I believe, complaining because someone made a cheeky comment about footballers taking a pay cut, right? It doesn't... No. Just don't use that as an excuse to...
Well, it's not like they're being used right now.
No, they're really not. Actually, that intrigued me because a number of players are on some are on a you only get paid if you play contract. They're in the lower leagues typically because lower leagues earn significantly less, whereas the larger ones get lots of money from television rights, which is fine. I can't fault you, can't hammer you for that, because you've earned your right to be there, or you've just paid your way to be there by buying all the best players on the planet because you had a Russian billionaire buy everything for you. But when you start to just go down this path of blaming, you are counterproductive. You are not doing anything to contribute but to simply complain. Yes, it is a very distinctly British trait to moan, and I get it. We love a good moan, don't we? Who doesn't love a good moan for being British? I should say, I really don't. I can't be arsed with it. The only time you hear it is in video form, otherwise I just don't say much. But with those that are just looking to blame, you are not helping to find a solution. So why don't you instead just lick a window and just try and pep people up instead, because morale is really suffering here. There is already a worry that the number of people that will be diagnosed with depression will skyrocket, and mental health will take a tremendous knock. Now, while we brag about having parity of esteem in the United Kingdom with mental health, which is amazing, we don't have the professionals to help people with mental health. Spoken from experience before this, there really isn't. So how about instead you find a way to pep people up? Like those, and this is why I haven't railed on them. Even though it's cringy, those that have done concerts online who've just been doing it to entertain their fans, I think that's fantastic. Because as cringy as it is to listen to Gal Gadot sing, she did it. What have you done? Some people have done charity streams. Some people are doing actual concerts. Some people are just playing video games on Twitch. It's something that keeps a lot of people entertained and pepped. And it's a simple thing.
You know, it's interesting because a lot of people have actually started to notice how little celebrities matter. And, like, don't get me wrong, there are those out there who are very much in it for the fans. Like, for example, um, CNN put out an article, I think 2 days ago or something,
Hmm.
about Jack Black's TikTok dance. And it was basically him in his backyard in like shorts, no shirt,
He's hilarious.
and cowboy boots dancing.
Fucking love Jack Black. He's so funny.
And he's just a meme. And it was something to laugh at. It was something to smile at. That's
That's
good.
fantastic. That's
I
fantastic. That's great. That really is. And by the way, Jack Black on YouTube, his channel is fucking,
don't,
it's hilarious. Genuinely. But
I
people who do
genuinely
that,
like Jack Black though.
people who do that, they're trying to find ways to make people feel better. And there are enough people right now. I was talking to my avatar artist about something quite serious because I for years at uni, I did personal tutoring. It was something I was very good at because I worked in seminars. I worked in not seminars. What are the little mini group things called? I can't remember what they're called. And it was simply a case I would help people learn. They couldn't comprehend in the subject we taught, then I would help them. I did this for 4 years. I really enjoyed it. She's had an issue though because Orion. Okay, I thought the British pastime was queuing. Now that they can't, will they use their free time? Well, we will queue in our homes with a 2 meter distance between us. Thank you very much for the $10 donation. It's very generous of you. What was it? So her problem is that a lot of her students are lacking the morale to do anything, and in reality, there are only 3 solutions left. You have nurture, you have distraction, and you have force. And nurture has failed, distraction has failed, therefore she only has force. And I've gone through the list, I've gone extensively through, it's broken this down to try it, but then the one thing it comes down to with education, especially those who are now having to do it at home instead of in an official setting, is it has to come down to your desire and what motivates you. And the best examples for me were when I started, there were 200 people in my class. When I finished, 6 years later, there were 3 of us. Right? And that was, okay, it was post-grad, but still, there was only 3 of us. And it came down to, for me and the other 2, all 3 of us agreed. The only reason we were still there is because we wanted to be better than the other person. I was that better person. But it's weird flex, I know, but it's still, it was great to have that challenge because you want to aspire. And if they don't have that desire to go far, then they won't go far. But with morale being as low as it is, it's going to knock already weaker minds. And it's going to take a lot to bring them back up. And that's what we need to be doing. Finding ways to help them try and push themselves, but without looking at the world and seeing the stress. Just trying to comply a little with some simple rules and focus. But, some people would rather just be a massive twat, and others would rather help. I don't know. What do you think?
I think I think celebrities are realizing that they're losing their influence.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of how you went through with the whole there's distraction, coercion, and force thing.
Yeah.
It's the same idea because a lot of celebrities are basically looking at this as I am losing my influence because I don't have the same mode by which I can access my fans, my tribe, my posse, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, when they lose that, then what really makes you a celebrity? Is it your wealth? No, not really. There are plenty of rich people that no one knows what their names are. Just they don't talk about it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
There's, every person who's ever won the lottery who didn't end up blowing it on hookers and cocaine, you don't know who they are. You don't know about random millionaires who live in, the upper Jersey or Philadelphia area who are just, maybe they've worked over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's so what really is it? Is it your fame, the fact that people know your name? Well, if that's the case, then people know a lot of people's names, but that doesn't make you important. And I think they're starting to realize that the veil that they've basically created around themselves is very flimsy at best.
Well, they also obviously would be thinking that if they're not being exposed much in the ways they usually are, that their style will diminish, so they have to resort to other things. With the case of Gary Lineker, I've heard he is a bit more of he's a bit of a bitch-made person on Twitter anyway. And just to quickly address Swan in the chat, I work in a store where people were waiting 2 to 3 hours to get in. There's a similar issue at my local co-op where I had to keep trying to mail plushes off Etsy, and I have to queue 2 meters away from somebody, and they only allow, I think, 15 people in total in their store, which is fine. I get it. But once I've done my thing, I'm still just going to walk around as if I own the place and buy what I want, provided I have the money for it. But I'm still going to buy what I want. Just I can't, I'm not going to go to any of the bigger supermarkets because I can't be bothered. It's just so much aggro to get in at the moment. I'm not queuing for hours.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm not queuing up for hours just to get some dairy-free Marge. It's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
See,
doing
I went to the store this morning and it was perfectly fine.
Yeah. We were hoping it would stop the panic buying, because it only recently started here. Even after all the binmen even were complaining this weekend, on Monday, sorry, outside my place, we were talking to, asked them how bad has it been with food thrown out, and they did say, yeah, people need to stop doing that shit. It's starting to really fuck us off, because there's some really good food they've been throwing out, really expensive food, and they haven't been storing it properly, like really high-priced meat. It's just all gone. And there I am, bringing back like some kind of some kind of I brought back a bag from the butcher's, and it was just like meat for a week for my sisters and their daughters. And I'm like, I really wish that, because that cost me so much, but only because I couldn't get it from the supermarket. Orion, oh, that's incredible. I noticed your meter was at the bottom. I have enjoyed your content over the last year, so I hope this helps you continue creating entertaining content. That's an incredibly generous donation. Thank you very much for the $123. I really should have linked that to that stupid bar at the bottom. My apologies for not. I will amend it later. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Orion. That's a good man right there.
Yes. Assuming gender.
Oh, yes. Good person.
That's better.
Yes,
that's better. That awkwardness intensifies almost as much as when I get a donation.
Yes, indeed. So let's move on to American politics, shall we?
Where do you want to start with the Pelosi, or do you want to do the Crozier stuff?
Let's do the Navy captain, because that's...
Okay, right. I'm going to put a picture of him on the screen, because I did actually put some pictures up for him. So, did you look into this much?
I did not get a whole lot of time to look into it.
Yeah, I haven't seen the letter yet.
So, do tell. I did know that
attack helicopter,
the USS Roosevelt was having issues with coronavirus.
Yeah.
But I'm an attack helicopter. Got it. I shall call you Apache from now on.
Thank you. That's very respectful.
Yes. If you want to be a Black Hawk, just let me know.
He knows a guy.
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, I didn't get a chance. I knew that the Roosevelt had some major issues, but why don't you give me the background and I'll put my thoughts.
Okay, so as far as from what the Cliff's notes that I knew after like noticing it only a few hours ago was that earlier this week, Bret how do you pronounce his name again? Crozier? Right, yes. The captain of the Theodore Roosevelt had written a letter pushing for the US Navy to allow 3,000 sailors on board the aircraft carrier who had been hit by the Sleeman's Clear virus. Is that better? Sleeman? Is that better?
Sure, yeah.
Sleeman Clear virus. It's listed as one of the 10 worst beers, so we'll go with that. He'd written a letter asking for them to be taken off the ship by today. But the letter was leaked, and that caused a few problems. Now, there are people who believe, military experts, that Bret Crozier was a scapegoat for management flaws in the military system and manifested misconduct of senior U.S. military officials. Now, the belief is that the firing reflects a rift between the battleship's commander and the top Pentagon officers over the severity of infections on the carrier. and whether it should continue its combat mission courtesy of the Sleeman-Clear virus outbreak. So they, it's understandable that the Pentagon would be a bit irked by the revelations of the letter, but some people believe that there is an accusation here of apathy on the part of the top-ranked military officers, that while they knew the lives of sailors on board were seriously threatened, they weren't going to do shit about it. Which is where I think a huge issue arises. There are, there's some Democrats in the House Armed Services Committee who did release a statement earlier calling the removal a destabilizing move and an overreaction. And on that, this man, Bret Crozier, he, upon leaving the Roosevelt, was met by a crowd of people who applauded him because they felt he did the right thing. And that's something people can do. I would actually pull up exact numbers. Give me a sec. What do you think of this?
I hate to say it, but the first things first is, you telling me during a quarantine people gathered? Stop.
Yep.
Stop.
Yep.
Why are you doing this?
Yep. Oh yeah. So he was given a standing ovation by, let's see. So sailors saluted the captain upon his leaving. He was relieved yesterday. Now he let's see. He
wasn't discharged, was he?
He was sacked. Modley said the decision was driven by fact he shared a letter with at least 20 others before it was leaked to the press. But the secretary insisted that he was not accusing Crozier of leaking it himself. But of course the buck stops at him. The Roosevelt was docked in Guam last week because 25 crew members tested positive for COVID-19. Oh, sorry, Sleeman's Clear. 140 have since tested positive. Between 880 and 500 sailors were moved to several hotels in Guam where they will remain in quarantine, which is astonishing. There is actually a video of him leaving the ship. That is a large crowd of people, by the way.
At first I thought if any country was going to be safe during this, or I guess territory, it would be Guam. Because what happens at Guam except for moving military?
All right. Let me find. Here's a picture of the crowd. It's a reasonable sized crowd. That's quite a few people actually. Really shouldn't be gathering that many people. Just saying. But yeah, it's brought up a question about the Pentagon's reaction to this, really, and top brass, which I find really interesting, to be honest. Because I'm not entirely sure. I don't know much about your system, but this doesn't smell right upon first looking at it.
Well, you see, so this isn't like the president came out and relieved him of duty, but the thing is, it sounds like, at least from the Navy's point of view, that this was done because information was leaked about a potential disembarking of a bunch of sailors from a U.S. asset.
Is Motley the Secretary of the Navy? Ah.
Oh, that might make sense.
I'll confirm it. Thomas Modley is he's SecNav. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So I think I understand why he was yelled at, but I don't know. I have to agree with the title of the video saying that it's a scapegoat, because it doesn't seem valid that a captain who is trying to look out for their their crewmen is going to eat the blame for somebody else basically leaking.
Do you want me to add to this, by the way?
3,000.
Do you want me to add more to it now? Because someone thankfully told me who SecNav is. Thomas Modley has said in a statement that he sacked Theodore Roosevelt's captain because he put the crew at risk with the leaked Sleeman Clear virus letter because, and I'll quote, our adversaries in the region think that one of our warships might be crippled. Oh, that is a shit response. Oh,
Well,
no.
yeah, no shit, dude. But like
Go on.
I just hate it because I understand because the protocol for embarking and disembarking of
Mm-hmm.
naval ships or army
Yeah.
locations of
Mm-hmm.
deployments are classified information.
Yeah.
So the fact that this guy basically ended up, I can't even blame him though because I don't know if his fucking letter was released by him.
Well, no, Modlier said that he doesn't believe he did it. However, it's a kind of a weird position because obviously he shouldn't make it public, but if no one took it seriously, he had no choice.
Right.
So and that actually falls handily with the multitude of accusations levied at the administration that they're not doing enough, or they took too long to do things. Much like the UK government have been accused of not doing enough or acting too late in a number of aspects. I'm not saying they haven't
Well,
acted right, by the way. I'm just saying that's how it can frame everything.
it almost sounds like his hand was kind of forced in this because okay, this letter went out and it contained information that was critical to national security, but I don't know if it was labeled as such. And in addition to that, you wrote it, dude. You wrote it.
Yeah.
Um I mean, it's a shitty situation, but I understand the protocol around it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. It's sad because this guy did what he genuinely thought was right.
In this position as well, it isn't about rank or career. It's about the safety of your crew, not the duty, the crew.
Mm.
So I have to, because I don't give a damn about military, to be honest. I really don't. My focus is on the humanity. So I have to take the side
I
of the
mean, I
captain.
care about both because honestly, when you look at it, the military is just a collection of fathers, sons, mothers, daughters who wanted to do things for their country or
Mm-hmm.
wanted to use the military to better themselves in the end.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whether that be they want to use Pell Grants or free college,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it was, they wanted to do this, be a part of the military for this purpose, and some people made a career out of it, like this captain did. So I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, let's be honest. This whole situation that we are engaged with coronavirus is not good. It's not a normal circumstance. It's not what would be business as usual.
Yeah.
So to say that this is an odd situation is almost is redundant or not necessary,
Mm-hmm.
irrelevant. And it's just sad because he didn't do I mean, he did something wrong, but it wasn't his fault. Um Similarly, you only have to look at the accusals of Boris Johnson and Donald Trump to see the same
Mm-hmm.
kinds of thing. A lot of people lately have been saying, "Oh, well, we should have acted earlier."
Yeah.
Look, no one knew that this shit
Hindsight's
was gonna go wrong.
yeah, hindsight's not really helpful. It's just but we could have. No, shut up, please.
No, yeah, you could have, but then people wouldn't know why you were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, okay, I could have quarantined the entire city of New York, and I could have told no one's allowed to leave their house. Period. Under threat of. Now, did he actually share it, Orion? Sorry. donated 1230. As a current sailor, this is probably because that letter and how it was leaked is a grave breach of operational security. Him sharing it before sending it is what got him sacked, not the leaking.
Ah, he shared it before
Did
sending
he
it.
share it? I did not read that part of the story, so
No,
that
that wasn't how any of them framed it. That is actually a huge context changer.
yeah, because if he shared it, then yeah, okay, he does
All right,
he
sayonara.
deserves the.
Sayonara. Uh,
I mean that's fair. If he made that decision, then all right.
he made the decision for a reason, I guess, and Kiara's kind
I
of right, to be
guess,
fair.
but also there's the difference is not just your
Yeah,
lives.
yeah.
He admitted to sharing the letter. Yeah, okay, then yeah, that's
Prime
his fault.
example of ethics and morals being juxtaposed. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true too.
Would you like? Would you
But
like?
yeah,
Would you
so
like something a little bit different from that for a moment before we go back to America?
sure.
So some Chinese scientists have decided, because as we all know, they're fantastic for their animal welfare. They've managed to confirm,
Oh
and actually it
yeah,
was
of
proven
course.
in Belgium actually, where a cat has been confirmed to have the Sleeman-Clear virus. These Chinese experts have not quite worked out whether or not cats can spread the virus, but it's okay. Dogs can't get it. It's okay. The dogs are safe. What I'm expecting to see now here is much like when we remember the people who were throwing their dogs and cats out of windows because they freaked out, and the cat, because they were like, oh, we can't have these because virus, and throwing them into the street totally resolves the problem with the dead body there. Yeah, so now managed to
Yes,
prove that
I have heard of such things.
yeah,
Yes.
um, they can't quite find out though if the cat can sort of like pass it on to humans yet. They just know that cats, okay, so the Harbin Veterinary Research Institute concluded that chickens, pigs, and ducks are not likely to catch it, which means I guess food is okay if you're restricting yourselves to just those and not cat. Um,
You know, I think only one country, or maybe two, has that problem.
I can't imagine who, and I'm just looking to see. Oh yeah, the markets are back open already. Imagine my
Oh,
shock.
joy.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to go to Pelosi now?
Yeah, okay, let's talk about Pelosi. Now,
uh,
okay, background information. I did a video on my channel yesterday about the utter state of this shit.
mm-hmm.
So if you feel like you need a quick recap or something shareable to your friends about what the fuck's going on, please feel free to send them my link. Uh it's probably the most recent video on my channel, so that's probably the way you're going to find it the best.
I've got a picture of
Unless
Pelosi
he
on the
links
screen
it.
for everyone. Don't be alarmed, everyone. It's just
So,
Pelosi.
Thursday, yesterday morning,
Mm-hmm.
Pelosi decided that she was going to announce the creation of a new political subcommittee in the House of Representatives, and that was the Coronavirus Response Committee. Now, some of you might be asking yourselves, wow, that's great. They're making a committee to handle the coronavirus response.
Mm-hmm.
But hold on, there's more. Yes, it's led by a Mr. Jim Clyburn. Now, some of you might know Jim Clyburn's name because he is one of. Oh, what the fuck is on that screen? That is that is absolutely horrific. Um. Anyway, Jim Clyburn is apparently supposed to chair this committee. Now, this committee is supposed to make sure that taxpayers' money is going to the right places and to make sure that it's being used to better the American people and make sure that they are being taken care of and that stimulus bills aren't going to cost lives. Okay. Jim Clyburn is a South Carolina representative that is very, very popular amongst the Democratic Party. In fact, some people during the campaign trail likened his endorsement to a Democratic candidate as being one of the most important
Thank you,
endorsements that
RD, for
one could
the
get.
£22 donations. Very generous of you. And I will check Discord after the stream. Carry on,
Thank you
sorry.
kindly. Um, so Jim Clyburn is a well-known person in the Democratic Party, but he's also something else. He is also the individual who said that the coronavirus stimulus bill was the perfect opportunity to reshape things in our vision. Basically, what he's saying is the idea of let no good crisis go to waste,
Oh dear.
which disappoints me greatly because, as most Democrats will tell you, people are dying.
Yep.
So we need to work on that. And this isn't part of it. This isn't how you fix that problem. So Pelosi has decided to make this committee and let somebody who literally wants to abuse the crisis to gain political points. But let's not forget that Pelosi is also personally responsible of putting forth a bill, a stimulus bill, to address the coronavirus that included provisions that were supposed to go into effect by 2025
Ooh.
regarding airline emissions. I don't know if you know, but when facing a pandemic, the last thing I want to worry about is what airlines will be doing 5 years from now. It also included $300 million for the Kennedy Performing Arts Center.
Before you continue,
You know,
Cyrene has a
yeah.
question for you. It says, "What WTF
Oh,
is that thing? What is that on
it
the
looks
screen,
like
Trups?
Harry Potter.
It's Harry Potter.
I don't know. I
That's
asked you that
that's
already.
that's Harry Potter. After a few days
Harry
of
Potter,
speed.
Nancy Pelosi, and a fucking exorcism in the making.
It is. And thank you, Orion. Hashtag defund Congress. Hashtag abolish WTO. WHO. I'm actually, WHO, with what they said about there not being a medicine or cure possible, that really annoys me. It bugs me to no end. I don't know why I never listened to it anyway. They've been wrong about so many things this
I'm
year.
on board with the fucking Japanese hardcore on this.
What's the thing?
Because the Japanese, apparently one of their representatives said that they called the World Health Organization the Chinese Health Organization.
Because they're just defending them or propping them up or what?
Well, because they refuse to acknowledge Taiwan as a separate place.
No one does that, and
Is
I don't know why. Because Taiwan is a separate country, is not owned by China.
it
Yet
is a separate country, but China doesn't believe that.
Interestingly,
China believes that it's theirs.
one of my favourite snooker players is Taiwanese, and for years in World Championship snooker, he was recognised as from Taiwan. And I don't understand how in that sport, which is very English, it's the only time I've ever heard someone recognised as Taiwan. Taiwan is not Chinese, and they need to stop trying to claim shit. It's really starting to. I'm surprised they haven't claimed North Korea yet as China.
Well, they like North Korea because it draws attention away from.
Yeah, it does. And I'm still, part of me now thinks, and I'm starting to truly believe, no one is, when this is all over, that no one is going to blame China for anything. They're just going to be like, all right, should we have some deals done then?
Oh
All
no,
right, cool.
they've already begun to blame China. Like
Japan
there
will.
are already places
Japan
in
will.
the
They
United
hate them.
States. There's
Oh,
no, even in the United States.
right.
There are already investigations into the WHO that have been called for.
Ooh.
Because they believe that essentially they are causing they are letting people die.
Okay, just because I want to address this, Kel in the chat said that it was their way to get a new Green Deal. Is that a reference to the actions of Pelosi and Democrats? Because I feel like I've missed something.
Yes. So that's their stimulus bill was basically intended to basically be their Green New Deal
Oh,
while everyone is dying.
right. Yeah, that's just no.
No, it's fucked up because at the very least, you can actually pretend that you care for a moment. But no,
They clearly
they don't want
don't.
to.
That's unfortunate. I know that a lot of people are throwing shade at Trump for what he is and is not doing, and of course, it was only yesterday I found out that he had initiated that act, whatever it's called, enacted.
Defense Production Act.
Right. So I don't know if he has actually done that, but apparently he has. Well, it was on a live stream
So,
yesterday, so I still don't know because I didn't bother looking. Let's have a look. Defense.
well, the interesting thing about the Defense Production Act, honestly, is
Yeah, he has invoked it.
he hasn't had to. He hasn't had to invoke it. And the reason for it is because companies have kind of just fallen in line.
Okay, so before you carry on with
Kind
that,
of just themselves, yeah,
in the
I'll
UK,
help.
I do apologise, but in the UK, a number of companies did reach out to the government offering to make the very things that people accuse Trump of not
Oh,
trying to get sooner, and that our
okay.
government
Yeah.
ignored that advice. Now, of course, at the time, they didn't need it. Now they do.
Mm-hmm.
That is the problem. It's not a case of, oh, let's all pounce on this, and then it would if it hadn't gone the way it has, it'd be a case of, oh, it hadn't gone that way. People are like, oh, you just wasted all this money on this. You have to address a problem when it arises instead of preparing for it. Because if you start preparing for it, then people will just accuse you of wasting money. You can't win. You can never win this. With your country, it's a bit tricky. I don't know. Oh, it was the CDC that said no. So the private sector did, in fact, step up production. That's really interesting, then. Your country was preparing
Oh
anyway.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in case you're ever wondering about when people say we need universal health care in the United States, look no further than our own CDC.
Tell me about the CDC traps. Regale me with their tales of success and amazeballsness.
Well, the fact that they are limiting private enterprises who could create a surplus, I'm going to use this term as a slight hyperbole,
Mm-hmm.
of masks and personal protective equipment to give to our medical professionals in the field who are combating this pandemic. They are saying, no, 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 you cannot do that. Our federal entity, the CDC, is saying, no, no, no,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot. Understand that this means that the federal entity that is the CDC is basically saying, don't save people.
Do you remember last week when I said that there were theories being posited that if a cure was created in America, the CDC would be the first ones to bury it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I
Fun.
believe that.
I just wanted to bring it
But the
up. Carry
problem
on.
is that the only difference is that they are subject to the discretion of the president at the very top. Um, because of the nature of this, well, actually, it would be more like the FDA would be
What's
subject
the
to the
FDA?
discretion of the president. The Federal Drug Administration, so the
Oh,
people who basically do the testing on drugs and make
okay.
sure that they are safe to release to the public.
Okay, brilliant.
The CDC is more of an independent federal branch. They handle things federally, but I don't know if they are legitimately under the control of the president. Probably by some flow down, sure, but not directly. I would have to say, talk about the 3 million and their bullshit, Trups. Which part?
Oh, hang on. Kel actually adds to that the capping amount of masks that can be cleaned each day. That's a bit
Yeah,
silly. If
the
they can do,
CDC,
if they can do more, why don't they do more?
because the CDC said so.
That's bullshit.
That's the bullshit. And Rain puts it correctly. We can't trust any graphs, polls, or etc. I trust my president of the United States. That's really the thing. Oh, we have that problem too. Credible threat also happening here. Certain people to sign a do not resuscitate form if they are over 60 and get COVID. It has since been roundly condemned. That is something that some places have been considering. Italy, most notably, I guess. If you are elderly and you contract COVID, you are basically under a universal do not resuscitate.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim Pool even talked about this several times. Tim Pool has been like the best person to watch during this whole thing. I hate to like sell him out versus us, but like, you know, it's where I get a lot of my actual video news that I don't have to watch while I'm doing work during the day.
You and I differ greatly. I don't watch any videos. I've been watching people build underground houses. I'm excited.
See, different things. I want to be knowledgeable. Meg wants to go and hide underground. It's the same thing, different responses.
I just want to hide underground. I want to look good doing it.
Yeah, you want to have a full-on bunker, man.
And a pool.
Make sure you get those lead-lined walls just in case.
Nah, fam. They're mud and they're lined with like a smidgen of clay. That's all.
Have you just been watching fucking like prehistoric fucking builds or whatever the fuck it
they're
is
all
called?
done in South America. It's actually a thing. Primitive like survival channels. They're brilliant. They have millions of views and millions of subs. Sorry for the massive distraction.
Oh, I know. The guy was featured on several YouTube rewinds.
There's actually about 20 different channels I've been watching do this. It's amazing. I apologize. I don't watch.
You're talking about 3 million. You're talking about 3M.
You did actually miss that.
Oh my god. Okay, so 3M is a company that's literally been selling off their masks to foreign countries instead of the United States. And
why?
Trump basically had to go in and say, "Who the fuck do you think you are?"
Oh, damn. That is why would they hang on, did they already have deals in place like they were just meeting quotas? Or have the acts been, because I kind of want to know the full context.
The problem is that Trump even has been quiet about, you know, what exactly has been going on with them. But he mentioned that some companies have been very, I guess the word would be uncooperative.
Right. I guess in this situation, those companies, America first, yeah.
No, that's exactly the point. And I bet you if we looked at, you know, they always say follow the money, right? I'm sure if we followed the money, we would find some interesting situations. But I'm not here to entertain conspiracy theories. I don't have my tin hat.
Huh. Surprised you don't.
That being said, Trump has been doing a lot. Trump has been trying to do his best to fix this problem. And a lot of people are basically giving him absolute shit about...
Yeah. Okay, so I saw the thing where he gave a statement, and a CNN reporter was asking him, almost like they wanted respect from him, and he just shut them down by telling them by going into detail about how much they shit on him on a regular basis and how they're wrong so much.
Oh my god, yeah. Well, if you're gonna come out and you're going to say to the president, "Oh, this person is corrupted by Russia. This person is in the pocket of Putin, or this person is racist. This person is sexist. This person is working against the American people. He wants to shut up actual whistleblowers. He is trying to beat out Joe Biden because he is afraid of Joe Biden beating him in November." I'm sorry. Why the fuck should he give you the time of day? After a certain point, you got to give him credit because that man has, first of all, tolerated so much of your crap. And by you, I mean the media.
I've never
tolerated so much media shit.
I've never seen a president interrupted so many times. Because I used to watch these all the time. I used to watch a lot of the press briefings and such because I'm that guy. And I always found it interesting when presidents gave statements. I don't think I've ever seen anyone interrupt. I don't think I ever see it happen to Obama. I don't think it happened to Bush either, actually. And I didn't watch Clinton. I didn't give a shit about Clinton. I don't recall seeing
Right.
it happen before. It's just such an uncommon thing, and yet it happens all the time to him because he's not really treated as a president. He's treated as not
That's like a
president.
front man.
Yeah, well, it's just, maybe he's the press secretary. They're treating him like him instead, or her.
Well, yeah. And to be honest, what people say in the chat is true because Orange Man bad. Now, I've talked about on the stream several times. There are Facebook groups that I am a part of that are unironically
Mm-hmm.
hating Donald Trump. I mean, they think he's fucking awful.
Yeah.
And the only reason I haven't shown any of them in videos is because some of these people are using their real accounts.
Yeah, we can't. We don't do doxing around
So I
here.
don't want to dox people, even though they fucking deserve it. I'm not gonna do it.
We don't do them things.
But some of the comments are brutal. I mean, some of them talk about just fucking killing Republicans.
Yeah.
Some of them are talking about like they wouldn't be upset, or they are praying for Trump to get coronavirus, much like how the pray for Boris thing was.
Right. So actually, on
It's the worst
right
kind of humanity.
With that in mind, there are also Facebook groups that exist to do the exact same to conservatives via fox hunting conservatives. You know, deal with the toffs by taking away their toffee sport and toffing the fuck out of them with horses and dogs. There is also what was it? Right. There's an argument made about conservatives and Republicans in this that the majority, a lot of their voters are older people who are most susceptible to the virus, and yet the argument is now being made, and the framework has been laid that neither party has done anything to protect their core demographic. So surely by that logic, the Conservatives will be demolished soon, and by that same logic, because you've got an election this year, the Republicans, or Conservatives, I guess, they will also suffer greatly because there will not be any old people to vote for them, which I think is disingenuous. There are a lot of young people that vote Conservative, much like there are a lot of young people that vote Republican. It's just, it tends to be, as you get older, you lean a bit more towards the Conservative side as that bell thing moves. Whatever that... is it Overton window? Is that what it is?
The Overton window, yeah. It's basically saying what the political field has shifted.
See, I've noticed over the years, while I've held a fairly neutral position, my neutral position is being shunted. So I try and adjust a little so it doesn't become so obvious. It's not to say I'm conservative. It's just acute awareness that progressive ideas that do become more mainstream might be harder for one to keep up with as they get older. So I just adapt where I believe it to be sensible. Because I just don't care enough.
My centrism has always been a little bit different. And I was actually having this discussion with my fiance last night, saying that my centrism isn't because I'm ambiguous on certain issues. It's because I have issues that fall on either side.
Yeah, that's...
For example,
Yeah.
I believe that any law that infringes on the rights of the American people to keep and bear arms is intrinsically wrong.
Yeah.
I also think that gay marriage should be a thing.
I don't care
I
about
also
marriage,
think
so
that we should be allowed to smoke weed if we want to.
Keep it away
and
from
that
me
it
and we're
shouldn't be
safe.
illegal.
If it goes anywhere near me, I'll punch you in the face.
That's fine.
Not because, by the way,
I
I'm not
don't
against
care.
people smoking it. Just don't. If you puff it in my face, expect a very sharp.
Oh, just don't be rude.
Exactly. If you're going to have it around, blow it away from me. If it goes near me, your chin is going. Actually,
Just don't be a dick.
Right.
But that's just smoke etiquette.
I tend to agree. There are people who've done it to me before, and yeah, they've ended up choking for a while. Not because I've choked them, because I've hit them in the ribs. It's liver shots, you know. Nothing too serious.
Stop beating people, Meg.
They blow shit in my face. I'm going to fuck them up. I hate it. I hate smoke. I genuinely hate smoke, so it stays away from me. But the
Well,
what was it? There
never
was
mind.
something related to this, and I've just forgotten. Nah, never mind. Don't worry
We were
about it.
talking about political leanings.
No. It was something else connected tangibly, and I just lost it.
Hmm.
I got so excited at the idea of liver punching someone. My apologies.
But yeah, so basically the whole idea is that, look, there are parts of the government that I think that, the easiest one is the difference is, hey, I believe in the death penalty, but I also don't agree with the prison industrial complex,
Your
right?
prison's
So that,
amazing because it makes no sense. Isn't it all just privatized now?
a lot of it is.
What on earth did you just put in your mouth?
Taco.
Amazing.
I'm hungry, okay?
Well, we have passed an hour. We can stop if you like. I don't mind carrying on though.
I know, I'm just ranting. And I
Oh,
wanted to bite, and then I was like, no, I must speak!
I must have final word.
um, see all this bat soup in front of me, I just have to.
It does look yummy, to be fair.
Just tastes of a tinge of Corona.
Yeah, right.
Um, my Corona.
Yep.
Anyway, no, the United States is in an utter shit show, but it's mostly because Democrats want to exploit this crisis for their own gain, while Republicans are trying to fix the fucking problem.
See, my only concern is fixing the problem, doing my part to help.
Bad
But also,
taco.
yes, you tell him. Oh, bat taco, even better. Yes, I like bats. I never realised they were edible until I heard about the Sleeman Clear virus. I genuinely had never heard of people eating bats, and then I heard and I was like, "This could have solved so many of Bruce Wayne's problems." Ah, never mind. Ah, sadness.
Beat me up, Meg, says Ray Trail.
Oh,
Dale,
Ray.
sorry.
Oh, Dale. Yes, well, buy me dinner first. Oh dear, oh dear. Is there anything else?
Eating a taco is fun. Sith, I agree. I'm sorry, you were saying?
No. Is there anything else we'd like to talk about?
No, I think we're pretty good. If you guys want us to do more on this topic, or okay, more specifically, do you want me to do more on this topic? Because I do one video a week. I'm not up to snuff on Meg's numbers, where he does a video every day for both this channel and his own channel.
I have no life.
Links are down below.
Yep.
I imagine most of you are well aware. But if you guys want me to do more of
Subscribe
that
to
too,
Trups.
I guess I could work it out.
Channel link below.
Just let me know.
Is there anything you want to shill before we finish?
Just the video I had done yesterday. If you guys want to watch me do it a bit more coherently, I guess the whole "fuck you, Democrats." Yeah.
I'd like to shill something before we leave.
Okay.
I released some poetry on my reading channel today. It's called "To My Mother" by Edgar Allan Poe. There it is in the chat for you. It's my first attempt at trying poetry, so it was the shortest one, and I also quite like it, to be honest. So if you do, by all means, go there and smash like. We don't do dislikes on that channel, so if you do, expect retribution in the form of a flick to the forehead. And tentacle rights revoked.
Indeed. So I guess that's it for us this evening. Thank you, all of you, for joining us. Say goodnight, Meg.
Thank you for the generous donations. Goodbye, Meg.